score! And they finally kicked it through!
Welcome into Inside LAFC, the Max and Vince podcast, Supporter Shield Edition. That's right. I enjoyed everyone putting a little S on their Twitter handles.
I changed my profile photo to me holding the Supporter Shield from 2019.
Yeah, you weren't the only one. A lot of people did that. I was looking for mine. I couldn't find it. There's not one of me alone with the Supporter Shield. But hopefully we can get that on Sunday for Decision Day. Of course, we're joining you from glorious Eastern Los Angeles here, where it's hot, not too bad. Guys,
Alhambra adjacent.
Alhambra adjacent is
Alhambra
still
adjacent just sounds like
the double A.
Yep.
Vince LaRosa, Max Bretos. Please rate, review, download, subscribe, tell a friend of the podcast. We appreciate it. This has been on YouTube, and we're noticing a lot more people are tuning in, which is very exciting. And why wouldn't you? This is an adventure that we don't get to go on a lot. And right. I know I speak for everyone out there when Denis Bwanga, who will be our guest, along with
Man of the Hour,
Maxime Crépeau. We're going to talk to them both. Maxime's going to help with some translations. We're going to ask Maxime some questions as well. That's coming up. You do not want to miss that because this is my biggest pet peeve in this league, and that's why I love what we do with Vince. So many players who may not be from the United States or speak English, we don't learn enough about them, but we should. And we can't thank Max enough and the club for facilitating this so we can talk to Denis and know a little bit.
It is nice that the club believes in us and allows us to do that because it is a sensitive thing.
It's very personal.
It's very personal, and a lot of people don't do it because they avoid the awkward silences or the long translations. But for you and I, we're like, well, there's no other way we're going to get to talk to these guys, and by extension, no other way that they're going to get to hear from these guys. And so why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we delve into that? It's something that I think more people in this league should do because it is so multicultural. I mean, what was it at one point? There was like 17 different nations represented on this LAFC team. I think that was back in like 2019 or 2018, but it's still obviously very multicultural. And so, I don't know, look, when you watch it and then you listen to it, you'll see that there is an ease to it. It's not easy. Someone like Maxime Crépeau made it very easy for us, and then Denis does speak or does understand a good amount of English, but it's something that I don't want to pat us on the back too much, but I think it's really great that we do it.
I'm really excited about it, and I hope everyone does it. The league does it. I hope it's a big part of Apple TV deal when it comes around. And look, you're going to lose some things in translation. It's not going to be perfect, but it's better than a blank slate. We get to do that. Getting back to my previous point, we will all remember where we were when that goal went in. I was very well accompanied on the 110 football watch party with you and Jen Munoz and
all peaks and valleys. My friend Chris
Sepulveda. Saavedra. Sorry, I spelled his name wrong. I thought it was Sepulveda. Like
I did see that, and I was like, well,
please apologize to him.
I will.
I tried to be cute. I should have. Hey, Chris, sorry about that. But we'll remember that moment, and what an incredible feeling. And sports at its very best, where you have this full range of emotions, where you're up, where you're down.
Yeah.
And then out of the ashes, you're up again.
Talk about peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
I'm still hot about that referee decision. I don't care. I'm still mad. But
want to talk about it? What is it? A water?
What is there to talk about? I mean,
well, we'll say this, and we said on the watch party.
There needs to be accountability. Someone needs to say something. I don't know what you and I can say. We've said a lot about it.
Yes, and Ismail Elfath, who I rate pretty well.
You did.
He did. Well, we just need some consistency, and I'm trying to. I defend the referees, and I know that there's moments where they get put in the crosshairs. But what we can take away from this is that the VAR official asked Ismail Elfath, told him to come over because you think we have something, and they usually go to that monitor and they switch it. And Ismail Elfath decided that he didn't see anything, and there we were. And I thought there was something there.
There was two major situations that were the likely outcomes.
You got it. Yeah.
It was either a free kick at the top of the box, a dog so red card, or a penalty and a yellow card. But then to just say, wipe it clean, back to that corner. Yeah. I just don't. But I will say this. It's clearly not just an MLS problem. Inter and Barcelona, quite the problem with VAR in that match.
Yeah, you saw that with the handball for Ansu Fati, which clearly hit, was it Dumfries' hand before, and it was clear. I mean, you see it zoom in. So VAR has so much work.
Why are you going up for a header with your hand like this?
Yeah. You know, if you ever want to blow off some steam, just talk to Dave Denholm about VAR. I love it.
It'll either be a very short conversation because he'll just steamroll you, or it'll be a long one, and you're in. You're strapped in. Yeah. Love Dave. I love the passion with which Dave. There's a few subjects where Dave's like that. He's not a big fan of expected goals, and he knows that I am. So he likes to tweak me on that.
I'm all right
But
with expected goals.
VAR. I am. He's not wrong. I mean, but the toothpaste
Where
is
do
out of
we-
the bottle. It's too late.
Where do we put that goal? I mean, there's some incredible goals, but when you think about something
Top
that
five.
carried, but I mean, you could argue it's number one because LAFC have not had a goal to win a game that has put them into. Well, they obviously have in a postseason, but not right at the end against a big rival, which could see Portland out of the playoffs. They have to get something at Real Salt Lake. If Real Salt Lake win that game, Portland are out. And I don't quote me to that. It's a mess. We'll get into some of the ramifications here.
A mess in a good way, in a fun way.
But just to do that after what happened, I'm not saying it's number one, but you could argue it was. I know I'm forgetting some, and we could think of the aesthetics of the Vela goal against San Jose, but just with raw importance.
Convergence of skill and importance. But I was talking to Mark Dos Santos when I first arrived, and we were just talking about the goal and how big it was, and he was like, yeah, but don't forget, so many goals before that had to happen for that goal to happen.
It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work
I
that
know,
way.
But in his mind, and that's coach speak right there. He's like, look, we put in the work beforehand. Yes, it all comes down to this moment, but maybe in some ways it shouldn't have had to come down to that moment.
No reason to have that conversation.
You
We
know,
all
like
enjoyed it.
It'd take too long.
It would take too long, but it certainly is.
I think it's
up
top
there.
five. I think it's top five.
It's top five.
Because in a lot of ways,
But that's a harder
Like
list
the-
to make, by the way.
yeah, like the Brian Rodriguez goal against the Galaxy for me is still one.
The Galaxy playoff.
But there's
the
a lot
DO.
of parallels in the way he took that ball from the left side, had a lot of work to do, and just put his nose down and was like, I'm going to go through these guys. Yes, there might be an option for a pass, but I might as well finish it off if I got myself this far.
Mahala Club America. That's a good one.
No, you mean Cruz Azul.
Cruz Azul. Sorry, Mahala Cruz
Cruz
Azul.
Azul, Izzy versus SKC this season. Almost every Carlos goal.
It's incredible. We have lived a charmed life here, and but enjoy it because you just don't know when you're going to see something like this, and that'll continue on Sunday. And because the Supporter Shield was clinched, I can tell you we will be on the air Sunday, KCOP 13, to bring you all the action, and that means the world to me. As we said on the
Weight
one
lifted off your shoulder.
Weight lifted because
You
I
should have
want.
saw him after the game. He was getting teary-eyed and misty-eyed. We were dapping you up pretty good, but then also it kind of washed over him. Might lose the game, and then when he found out, immediately your spirits were through the roof.
Yeah, I get to spend another afternoon with you guys before things change, and change certainly could be good. We'll find out more about that, but to spend that one more time, to not have had that would have been I would have been devastated. But we don't have to talk about that. We will have that together. Let's enjoy it. Enjoy the Supporter Shield. I mean, Sunday's going to be.
Are you trying to say that
It's going to be a special
if
day.
the game was lifted from you, this whole podcast would be just you
Yes.
dumping on it and
Yeah.
being like, I can't believe.
What can I break? There's a lot of things I could break around here.
I mean, you threw a chair right into those glass doors. I think
Yeah, it would be pretty nasty. But now we have this incredible day to look forward to, where we'll see another trophy. And yeah, we've won a Supporter Shield before, but for a club that's still in its infancy, with the chance to fill up that figurative trophy case, this is huge. This is something you can point to and say we did it, along with everything else that comes with it, with the CONCACAF Champions League and the as well as the Western Conference champs, home field advantage throughout. Remember, they've only lost once all season. This is LAFC's always been a good home team, but this was a remarkable season.
they have a
at
chance
home.
this Sunday to best their best regular season of all time, home regular season of all time, because I believe they had 13 wins in 2019. So if they get this win here, 14 wins, which is incredible. 14 out of 17, that's incredible.
Carlos Vela, after the game, said it's still MLS Cup. And
He said the exact thing that you want to hear from your captain,
Yes.
which was, we know exactly how it feels to win this and not win MLS Cup, and I don't ever want to do that again. That's the message, and that was the best thing he could have said in that moment.
he did, and I think I fired people up.
Got me fired up.
I fired me up. But look, if something should happen, nothing's going to take away the MLS Cup. Hopefully it happens this year. It's not going to be easy. It's been made easier by all the work that they've done, by making sure they're not going to leave Bank of California Stadium. But I still think you cherish what this team has been able to accomplish at this point. But it's good to hear the players say they're not satisfied, and they are not going to be. They won't be satisfied, and they won't probably cherish it the same way I would probably cherish it if it doesn't end up the way
I think
they
they
hope.
will, but that's always something that when you look backwards, right? So if the season doesn't go the way that they hope it does, you can look backwards and go, yes, we won a trophy. It's tangible. But in this moment and in the present, no, they're not thinking about it at all. And again, they're saying all the right things. My question to you is the optics from that game, and we said it's everything you wanted in a sports atmosphere. It was ups and downs. It was drama. But what about from the idea of the mentality of LAFC, the ability to win that game in a hostile place, now knowing that they won't have to go anywhere else? How do you feel it prepares them for one-off playoff games? Because that was, I think Steve would even admit, not maybe a well-played game, but in the times when it mattered, they got goals from Carlos Vela, Denis Bwanga, guys that they were going to want to rely on in the playoffs. They were resolute in the fact that, yes, they were winning, and then in the 81st minute, tied it, dealt with the referee decision, still got a win. I mean, for me, that just sets up, that's the perfect game for a mentality heading into the playoffs.
I don't really have much more to add to that. I think you described it perfectly. We also talked about, look, this is a good game that's going to prepare you. They're not going to, it'd be interesting how they come out in Nashville because it's a celebratory mode, but they're going to have a long layoff afterwards. It probably like 2, maybe close to 3 weeks, depending on the date for LAFC to start the playoffs. So we talked about, do they bring in some guys who haven't played? I don't think they're going to do that. You want to really have a dress rehearsal here, even though you've accomplished everything you can. You can't accomplish anything else other than that home record. But I expect this team to really show their fangs and come out there. But to answer your question, we talked about the streaks, and people were in a little bit of a panic when they lost 3 straight. And we saw the national media when LAFC lost to Austin. And it said Austin's on their way to top spot.
The West is going through Austin.
Yes, and then Austin haven't won a game since, I don't think. Philadelphia winning big, and we were thinking about it. I go, unless Philadelphia is this superhero team, they're going to have a bit of a bad patch.
Well, you heard it here first that Philly is a very good team, and we should be paying attention to them when everyone was like, hey, don't worry about it. We've got this wrapped up. You heard that here first, and then you heard it from us, the other side of it, which was every team that has given their all to some kind of streak has fallen a little flat because it takes so much energy. And Giorgio said it last week.
It takes so much to confront LAFC.
Yeah, when we got into our rough patch, maybe we arrived with not enough energy, and sometimes you just get tired. But Giorgio said, you got to play through it. And he said that they felt they deserved more, and they did play in ways that they maybe deserve more at times, but sometimes the ball doesn't bounce your way.
So much going in LAFC's way. Carlos Vela scoring goals from outside the area, having
Best
space.
player on the field, too.
Best player on the field. Denis Bouanga certainly would have a claim to that. Stretching the field, getting some verticality so that Carlos Vela can operate. They're not giving up a lot of goals. Everyone's relatively healthy. You've got options. You have a bench that will bring most teams to tears. It's set very nicely. What does it mean they win an MLS Cup? Absolutely not. But when you look at everything form-wise, talent-wise, roster-wise, I mean, you can't ask for much more.
They're winning games with their best players being their best players. That's a good sign. They are winning games despite maybe not playing a full 90 minutes. I think the one thing we probably would like to see, and we will, I think, because all the games will come through Bank California Stadium, you'd like to see the tilt of the shots. I don't care about possession much, but when you see that they played against Portland, and Portland had 14 shots total, 7 on target, and you had 8 shots total, but also 7 on target or something like that, you'd like to flip those. You want to be the one that's the aggressor, and I think Steve Cherundolo has said that from day one. That's the style of football that LAFC play. But there's still a lot, like you said, a lot of things that are lining up in place that are maybe harder to get. Because, like I said, I think when they play at home, I think the seesaw will go a little bit more our way, and the field tilt will be a little bit more towards the opposing team's goal.
We could wax poetic about LAFC, but, everyone, you could make a claim that everyone really put their hand up over this weekend. It got a little shaky where the Portland goal came up. That's something that obviously they will look to make sure that they can adhere to when the playoffs begin, as Asprilla got in between Murillo and Segura. Midfield, pretty effective with that trio that's kind of been the group from the beginning. And we've said enough, they're sharing the volume. Like Chicho hasn't scored goals the last few weeks, but what's to say that people back off on Carlos or attend to Denis Bwanga, who, again, we're going to hear from at the next segment here, that Chicho gets himself a lot of space. And then the options on the bench, it's...
Chicho wants to score every game because that's just who he is. But he's also got to be relishing the fact that the winger to either side is scoring goals now, and he's wondering, you might take your eye off me for a hot second. I wouldn't do that.
Steve Cherundolo sets the record for wins, 21, and this was a very difficult job for a guy who didn't have the tenure, didn't have the experience, so to speak, of coaching a major club of this nature. He had to adjust as they had a huge turnover at the beginning of the season, and there was continual turnover through the summer, and he welcomed it. It was, I mean, where do we put this coaching performance? We always knew he'd be a good coach. He put the work in Europe. He has this incredible temperament. Being around him here in his trainings, it's different than you would expect, perhaps, to see a coach, certainly of a club of this magnitude. He certainly deserves his credit for keeping this together. Everyone's so happy. I think you get that idea when we watch these podcasts. It's a wonderful place to be, and these players know it, and they love each other, as you saw by the celebrations after. And Steve Cherundolo and his coaching staff, which we saw repeatedly, Mark Dos Santos. And by the way, even team security Paul Apodaca getting some airtime on ESPN. I mean, what's the world coming to? But they are a very good.
But how dare they call him security supervisor? What did he get demoted? Head of team security, Paul. I think for Steve, the thing that jumps off to you right away is the management aspect of it, because he's so ready to deflect to how much work is done by Mark Dos Santos, Oka, and Ante. And then you just think about the amount of moving pieces, the big summer that they had. Obviously, even before that, they brought in a lot of pieces, and he managed to get everyone to click to where, you know, the biggest thing we've said about this LAFC team is like the changes that they've made in the second half and bringing guys in, keeping guys happy. So you look to that and you'd say A+, man management. Beyond that, though, you got to give Steve his credit in his coaching. And he doesn't talk about it as much, probably because he just doesn't want to give away some of the stuff. But we've seen a different approach from LAFC. He's definitely changed some things to where we're still loving the attacking nature, some pressing at time. But then there's also this pragmaticism.
It adapts, yeah.
There's this adaptability. There is this, hey, we could still win games with just our two best players scoring goals and maybe not everyone having quite the cohesive game. But he's still... I love talking to him because when you talk to him about tactics, he goes, don't worry about tactics. It's about maximizing the players that I have here and then just being there as a team, being compact, moving our lines up together, not being stretched. Ultimately, if you do those things, we'll probably be pretty well placed. But don't get it twisted. Steve Cherundolo can coach up this team and can tactics up anything that he wants. It's just he prefers to kind of deflect and give a lot of credit to his coaching staff, which he said on the last In Touch with Steve Cherundolo that we just did today. Any one of them could be a head coach.
100%. And maybe that's happening in the not too distant future, but we were watching the game, didn't use a lot of subs. Portland ties it and then went to the bench. And I know Denis Bwanga started the game, scored the goal, but that was also a direct reflection of a response from the bench. So it just shows how he's able to survey the field, make these decisions, and generally make the right ones. And he did again this past Sunday.
I mean, gutsy calls. Carlos Vela didn't go 90 minutes in that game. You got to say that's pretty gutsy. He was the best player on the field. But
to replace him and then have the equalizing goal and have a plan to go out and get the winner and bring out these guys. Granted, you have the talent. But he used them. He didn't have to, but he said, don't quote me on this, but he had to have said, we're winning this today. We're going to put everything. If we lose because we're bringing in, we're making these adjustments, if we give up a goal, it's okay because winning it is a bigger payoff and we're going for it.
Yeah, I can't add anything to that. It was perfect. No, I mean, substitutions are... You get into murky territory when you start being like, he brings in Latif after they get a goal scored because the midfield maybe isn't quite getting the pressure they want, but like, it's always in hindsight, right? It's like baseball managers get it much worse because it's like, I bring in a pitcher here, guy hits a home run, but everyone forgets when you did make a change and it went right. So I don't want to get too much in the mud, but he makes gutsy calls, he makes adjustments, and I think that's what a lot of people were crying out for a long time, and he's doing it. He's doing the work.
He made a gutsy call. Most people on the road said, "Okay, let's figure out and get it at home. Maybe Philadelphia doesn't win next week, and this point's valuable." He went for it. That's fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about how this final weekend shapes up. Obviously, it's a Supporter Shield celebration. It doesn't affect LAFC, which is huge relief because it basically affects everyone else in these playoff positions. Right. I had to bring out the paper for this, but LAFC will finish first, Austin second. Dallas, I believe, are locked into third. The Galaxy are fourth, and from fourth all the way down to ninth is separated by 4 points. Galaxy 47, Nashville 47, so we know they have a lot to play for.
Mm-hmm.
Nashville could finish as high as fourth, which is a home game.
That's for a home game.
You want to finish fourth.
Right.
They could finish 7th, so they have a lot to play for, and they want to get in good form because I believe they lost to Houston, which isn't great. Portland's got 46, Minnesota 45, Salt Lake 44, Vancouver 43. You have 2 games over the weekend where it's winner take all. Minnesota at home against Vancouver, Real Salt Lake against Portland.
Wow.
Galaxy are at Houston. Galaxy may be able to move up or at least secure that 4th spot.
Historically, have not had good results at Houston on the final day.
Have not. And then the Nashville visit to LAFC. So the West
I know your
is,
answer to this because you want to play the Galaxy, but
I may have changed my opinion on that, Vince.
oh wow. Well, that's what is there any I don't know, chicanery that might go on where Nashville, you might want them to get a home game and force the Galaxy to travel all the way across country. And sure, if they happen to win, you'll play them. You'll take on all comers. But if you force them to travel,
I think Galaxy are going to end up in that 4-5 game. So maybe they travel to someone else.
But do you think they're going to host? Or
I don't know if they're going to host, but I don't think they're going to go to 6th or 7th.
Okay, so that means that one way or another they could be
an LAFC opponent,
first opponent, second round.
I'm fine if they get to 6th or 7th and we don't play them as people reminded me after I had that. They go, we had that moment. We're good. And I go, you know what? You're right.
I'm less scared.
It's not about a rivalry game in this playoff, although it would be sensational to see, and the neutrals would lap it all up, and it would be great for the league. Let's not make no mistakes. But this is about LAFC navigating their way through. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have a tough opponent, whoever it's going to be. Maybe you
it's a one-off.
avoid. And look, it's going to ramp up this city in a big way, and that could be a distraction.
They set up these playoffs for this specific reason because they wanted chaos. You think that they're doing this to give the team that's higher up any kind of advantage? Not really. You get home, but it's a one-off. Anything can happen in a one-off. So they want chaos. I, as well, have changed my tune. I'm not so worried about the Galaxy. I'm worried about the fact that they get penalties every single game, and multiple penalties every single game, and I do not want to see that in the playoffs. I'm terrified.
14?
I'm terrified of pro.
It's like 14? LAFC has like
14.
5, 6?
14. They have 14 in 2 last game. Yeah. Missed one, made one.
So no Galaxy. We're over that. And look, like I said, it'll be a distraction because if LAFC play the Galaxy, this gets embedded into the club and the Galaxy and the city kind of gets taken over and it seeps into the players. There's no doubt about it. So maybe we're better off avoiding all that hullabaloo, which means we're going to get it. Yeah. So prepare
Max
for
and I never get what we want.
Yeah. But I think you look at it, depending on what the Nashville game, LAFC looked really good in their trip to Nashville. They looked great in 2 games against Portland, or 3 games against Portland. Mm-hmm. And Minnesota as well. Look, handle it. Real Salt Lake traveling. It's makes people pause.
All those teams, except for Austin, don't travel well. Austin actually has a decent road record. Dallas, not great. Minnesota, definitely not great. Galaxy, not great. Nashville, not like. So that is the ace in the pocket for LAFC. Is again, it all comes through here. MLS Cup goes through Bank of California Stadium, one way or the other.
And think about that. It could be home game Sunday, potentially 3 more home games from October to early November. I mean, this place could pay for itself for crying out loud.
Then parade. Then we watch the World Cup.
Don't talk about
parades. No, I'm just saying, like, man, if you want to string it all together, there's a lot going on.
Then the World Cup. It could be
I'm just saying,
a fall for the
hydrate,
ages.
Sleep, take care of yourself. Get your vitamins.
And keep your phone and look at some scoreboards because remember, it's decision day. All games will start at 2 o'clock Pacific time so you can see what's going on, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
you
have
do
stuff.
a little bit of a whip around for the broadcast with you and Jordan Harvey, shouting out
Maybe.
scores?
I don't want to do that too much, but maybe if something significant happens, we will do it. By the way, Nashville are in the playoffs, but just again, they could go 4th or 7th, so a lot to play for.
It's a home game.
We could talk about Supporter Shield forever. I know it's a bottomless pit because it's so good, but
maybe we'll interview the Supporter Shield on
Let's
one of these
interview.
episodes.
What did you think about your trip from Logan Airport?
Where was
Wow, how many stops?
Where was the worst place you had to stay?
We won't get into that. What we will get into is our interview with Denis Bwanga and Maxime Crépeau. That is next on Inside LAFC, the Max and Vince podcast, coming up here in moments. We are back here inside LAFC, the Max and Vince podcast. Have we ever done this? Have we ever required 4 seats? I can't recall.
No.
It's for a great occasion.
Well, you can introduce them, and
Okay.
I'll say why.
We have Maxime Crépeau, who is now the all-time leader in Inside LAFC appearances. So congratulations, you've done it.
Oh,
Yes.
I I didn't know that. So
Yes.
thank
Is that-
you. Yeah.
I was going to say, the only reason why we have 4 is because Maxime is going to be a good helper here and help us translate for the man of the hour, Denis.
Denis Bwanga.
But Maxime, before we get too much into Denis, I do want to say thank you because taking time out of your day to help us with another player after you've been on so many times is pretty epic.
Yeah, no problem. And you know, his English is getting really good actually. So
You understand everything, huh?
Yeah, he does. We're working on the speaking.
We're breaking
but
him in.
Yeah, we're working on speaking, but he does understand. Yes.
Hopefully he's here in Los Angeles for a very long time, and his English will be better than Vince's here in no time at all.
It's not hard.
Denny, I start about the fresh off the 95th minute game winner against Portland. What went through your mind for scoring that goal? One of the most important goals in LAFC history.
Il a été magnifique. Pour moi, c'est un but magnifique. Voilà, il vient récompenser tout un travail de l'équipe. Et voilà, il y a eu le supporter shield qui vient à nous.
Yeah, it was a wonderful moment for me and for the club because there's a lot of work that I was putting into that little moment, and then at the end of the day, we go on back to Los Angeles with that supporter shield. So it was a great moment for him and for the club.
Nice flight back. Yeah? The flight back was good.
Le vol de retour, c'était comment?
C'était good.
I got it. It was good. You guys got that. Yeah.
So we were watching the game. We were doing a watch along. So we were watching it. We were on camera. We went through all the emotions kind of with you guys. The equalizer, then the whatever happened with VAR, and then the goal. And then Max gets back and he brings a screen and he freeze frames it where you picked up the ball. And he goes, Vince, do you think a goal was going to come out of this? And I said, no. So for you, when you pick up the ball, in that moment of the game, knowing it's tight, knowing that it's probably going to take a moment of something brilliant, like where do you get that confidence to just, am I at the touchline? Go right to goal.
Compris?
Mais je suis pas sûr.
Ok. So, en fait, dans le moment.
Qu'est-ce que je me suis dit
Exactement, quand tu as reçu le ballon, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé dans le travers de ton esprit?
Je me suis dit, c'est peut-être la dernière. J'ai vu qu'il y avait 7 minutes de temps additionnel. Donc du coup, je me suis dit, sur le côté, j'ai de l'espace. Et bah, je vais y aller. Je vais essayer de faire montrer mes qualités et de rentrer dans la surface. Le plus dur, c'était de rentrer dans la surface. Et après, une fois rentré dans la surface, tu n'as plus qu'à choisir. Soit faire la passe où j'avais vu Gareth Bale démarquer ou tirer. Et j'ai choisi de tirer.
So he basically knew it was 7 minutes of time added, and we were almost halfway there. And the most difficult part of this one was to really, he had the space in front of him, so he decided to take it. And the most difficult part now was really to get into the box without any defender stepping or how to eliminate his guy, which of course he did. And after that, he had a little angle of pass to Gareth in the middle, but he decided to take him by himself and have a go, and obviously we know what happened next.
What was it like for you, Maxime?
That's amazing translation, by the way.
Yeah, that was very good.
Very detailed.
But for you're watching him pick up that ball, and you're seeing the whole field layout. So what was your mindset?
I remember it was, I don't remember how the ball got to his feet, but when I saw the space and I know his pace, and I was like, all right, go at it. And I remember telling myself, even I was speaking to myself alone in my box. I was like, go. And then he's into the 18, and I'm like, it's gonna happen. And then he curls, it goes between the leg of the guy, and then I'm like, snap. After that, he goes in.
2 megs.
Yeah, exactly. Did the finishing, and then I went ballistic. I just...
On the watch along, and it's recorded, Max goes, take it yourself, Denis. And
I go,
that's what
go
you did.
for it.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's like, just go for it. Go on your own.
What is the secret to taking on defenders? You do it so well. The best on the team to look at a defender and so, how am I going to get by him?
En fin de compte, c'est le secret. Tu sais comment aller chercher des défenseurs 1 contre 1. Quel est ton secret quand tu les fixes? Parce que tu es un des meilleurs dans l'équipe à le faire. Maintenant, comment tu veux... en fin de compte, qu'est-ce qui se passe pour éliminer un défenseur?
J'ai pas trop de secrets. Après, je veux pas tout dévoiler ici, sinon ils vont savoir.
Right there, he just said, I don't want to say all my secrets.
Ah, okay. Bad question.
But I'm going to give you a hint, yes.
Mais voilà, je joue beaucoup avec les feintes de corps. Donc dès que je vois que l'adversaire est déséquilibré, j'en profite pour aller de son côté où il est déséquilibré.
So basically, he plays a little bit with the body shape of the defenders and the body weight, where are the angle of where they are strong and two-footed plant with a lot of stability. Are they off balance? And as soon as you see a little bit of gap with these moments of the defender is a little bit off balance and he's in movement, well, this is where he's good at cutting in on the opposite side. And see you soon.
I'm so
never
glad
again.
I am so glad I asked that question.
That was a good question.
Yeah.
For you came in, you arrive in Houston, no training, show up, play, and then you guys still on the road a lot. Was the home game against Houston, was that where all of a sudden it kind of, you felt like maybe it clicked and that's now, sky's the limit now? Or were you already very comfortable before that Houston game at home?
Ouais, lorsque tu es arrivé, on était à Houston sur la route. Ensuite, on a eu 2-3 matchs sur la route. Le premier match qu'on a à la maison contre Houston, justement, c'est là que tu as eu la première impression du stade, etc. C'est quel moment le déclic que tu t'es senti confortable dans l'équipe, dans l'organisation, en jouant au stade, etc.
Dès le premier match à domicile. Dès le premier match à domicile, tu sens que tu es chez toi. Puis il y a eu l'accueil aussi de tous les membres du staff et les joueurs aussi. Donc voilà, même en n'ayant pas beaucoup de Français, ils ont réussi à me dire le mot confiance. Donc du coup, voilà, je me suis lâché un peu plus.
Yeah, so basically when he first arrived at the Bank of California against Houston, this is the moment, the game that he said, all right, I'm comfortable, I'm home, because you really feel the atmosphere and everybody within the organization that really welcomed him with open arms, and with us, his teammates, who, except me, didn't really speak French, but he got a little bit of sense of the confidence and express yourself, and really we're behind you, we're with you. So this is the message that we shared with him, and this is the small details that he picked up, and he said, all right, well, I'm going to express myself, and this is what he did, basically. And from that moment, this is where it was the flip of the switch of say, all right, I'm home.
By the way, I think my French is getting a little better. I picked that up a little bit.
I just know like little words. I could pick off little
No,
words.
domicile. I got that one.
Yeah.
You arrived, you came off, and then you made 5 straight starts. We know you did a lot of work with Anton before arriving. What was the important work for you so when you arrived, you're able to have a lot of work, a heavy workload
Donc,
in playing?
Avant que tu arrives au club, tu étais avec Anton. Après, tu as eu 5 matchs d'affilée. Mais comment ça a été la procédure, justement, parce que tu étais dans une entre-saison, ensuite de ça, tu étais avec le groupe. Donc, comment ça s'est passé côté physiquement?
Physiquement, ça allait au fur et à mesure. J'étais de mieux en mieux. Nous, en France, c'était la préparation. Donc, du coup, ça ne changeait rien à mes habitudes à moi. Il fallait que je me prépare pour arriver, justement, assez bien physiquement ici. Et voilà, au fur et à mesure des matchs, j'étais de mieux en mieux. Et comme aujourd'hui, je sens que je suis de mieux en mieux.
So basically, it was the break in France, and so it didn't change anything with his workload physically at the time because it was the break, and then he had to really go into a squad already in season, and so yes, there was his physical side that he'd been working on that he felt really good, but it was more adapting, and with everything in life, you put 1, 2, 3 repetition with what you're doing in life for us playing football together, and he's getting more and more comfortable, and we can see it.
Oh, yeah, we can see that, all right.
Can I ask you, Maxime, and again, thank you for helping us with this, but I just want to, as we talk about this victory, you after the game were very emotional.
Yeah.
And I think you can explain this better than I can, but I just, when I saw it at first, I thought it was, you made a big decision to leave what was comfortable for what you finally got to, but there was no sure thing.
Yeah.
Is that what those emotions were?
There was, yeah, well, it was plenty of emotions going on. We had a loss in my family.
Sorry to hear that.
Few days before kickoff, and so I went back to Montreal for the funeral and everything. So we got together, the whole family. But there was emotions because yes, moving here was a big reason for me was to succeed and get silverware where I am in my career. But in the meantime, the tears at the end was for that member that left us of the family, and I know she was with us the whole way, the whole 90 minutes, and then this is at the end of the day, the emotions just goes. It's normal.
Thanks for
we do. We appreciate
that,
sharing that. But
sharing
even just think about this journey when you come here, not knowing what it's going to be like to have that moment. When obviously, you guys want to finish with MLS Cup, to have that moment with your teammates. Many of whom arrived at the same time as you. Some after you. To be able to bring that all together had to be very satisfying.
Yes, it's great. You know, everybody comes in with the same goal, you know, and it was to clinch the West first. Then it was to secure the Shield ASAP, and now we have one more box left. And our objective is, like Giorgio said here on the podcast, sitting in the exact chair. We got to focus on MLS Cup, and this is a goal and objective that every single player has in his mind. You know, we are happy with what we've been going through so far until the beginning of the season. But at the end of the day, there's a bigger picture. And yes, it's going to be to play in Nashville this Sunday and then take care of playoffs.
A lot of guys that had to come here and get comfortable quickly and keep the level of football high, yourself included, and now Denis. I guess that segues nicely into Denis. Have you found some places where you feel comfortable, where you feel either a part of home or something that you like? What kind have they helped you out to find places to eat or to hang out? What have you found now that you've had some time in LA?
Qu'est-ce que tu as trouvé jusqu'à présent avec la famille, peu importe des activités, qui te fait sentir à la maison, qui te fait sentir plus confortable dans l'environnement de Los Angeles? Parce que on s'entend que c'est complètement différent à Saint-Étienne, Los Angeles.
Oui, non, c'est sûr. Déjà, d'avoir une maison, un toit pour vivre avec une piscine où les petits peuvent jouer, tout simplement. Puis après, à Los Angeles, il y a tout. Il y a Santa Monica, Beverly Hills. Il y a beaucoup de choses à visiter. Voilà. Et on a visité la plupart des choses, voilà, mais il y a encore beaucoup de choses à découvrir.
Yeah, so basically he felt at home, more comfortable being in his house, you know, finding a house, being with a house, having the yard and the pool for the kids to play and really relax. Visit a little bit of Santa Monica, Beverly Hills as of now, but there's more to discover as well. I haven't discovered everything yet, so there's a lot to cover. It's a big city.
You got to go where the kids want to go to.
Yeah.
Playing with Carlos and Chicho and being able to make that work, and obviously with Gareth and Mahala, how do you go into the collaborations with the players in the attack?
Comment tu te sens en collaboration avec Carlos, avec Chicho, le temps de jeu que tu as eu avec Gareth, avec Mahala? Comment a été l'adaptation avec ces joueurs-là?
L'adaptation a été très facile. C'est des très bons joueurs de football. Ils savent très bien voir quel type de joueur je suis. Donc voilà, moi aussi je m'adapte à eux. Je vais renforcer une équipe qui est déjà très complète et avec beaucoup d'attaquants qui sont de très forte qualité. Donc c'est facile de jouer au football avec ces joueurs-là.
You know, it's easy to play with these kind of players because they are high quality players and the IQ is there on the field, and so just a matter of time before you picked up the little details what players wants, what your teammate wants, and obviously what the teammate sees in him, what kind of pass to give him to make his quality shine, etc. And so far it's been good, and every day there's a process of learning each other, but it's been easier because there's a high IQ of football, and there's at the end of the day they're good people as well.
Très facile. Yeah, that's what I say. I'm getting there.
C'est très facile.
Très facile for Denis.
Yeah.
Pour Denis.
I think my last question would just be, so Sunday you'll play Nashville. That'll be a bit of a celebration, although I know you guys will want to win because it's nicer to raise a trophy after you've won. But then the game changes, as you've alluded to, MLS Cup. How does your game possibly change in one-off situations, or does it stay the same? Do you feel like you have to play different when you have to win a game and it's one or done?
Alors, la question, en fin de compte, c'est contre Nashville. Toi, personnellement, tu te sens? Parce que oui, on veut gagner le dernier match à la maison, mais ensuite de ça, faut enchaîner avec les séries. Est-ce qu'il y a une approche différente, une mentalité différente par rapport à ce match-là?
Non, j'ai toujours la même mentalité. J'aime pas perdre, je veux que gagner et je veux soulever le plus possible avec Los Angeles si c'est possible. Et voilà, de gagner des matchs, c'est tout ce qui m'importe.
Winning is the most important thing, and every game is going to be the same, 3 points. This is plain and simple. He doesn't like to lose, doesn't like to tie. It's all about winning.
He said that when he arrived. He goes, I don't like to lose. I remember when I was writing the quotes with the translator, so
He
consistent.
also said, because I asked him, what do you play like? And he was like, you'll find out. And I think we have. I think we have.
Yeah.
It was much better for you to show us than for you to tell us.
Yeah,
So
and
yes,
I
we
agree.
found
You
out.
know, it's 3 points on the table for us. Yes, you mentioned it's going to be a game with a little bit of taste of obviously lifting a shield afterwards. But at the end of the day, it's the last preparation before the real postseason run. And so it's really important to focus on what we are doing and keep continuing our progress and really focusing on the performance more than ever right now, because after that is the real postseason run starting. And so yes, it's going to be a great moment for our club, our supporters, players. There's a feeling of yes, accomplishment, but after that, you turn the page and it's a blank page right there. So that's pretty much the approach of it. Yeah.
And you got to stay sharp. I think it could be 2.5 weeks before
Yeah, you have a little
you
downtime.
play again.
So you
so.
don't want to have a stinker heading into that downtime, I'm sure.
Merci beaucoup, Denis. Merci beaucoup. Tell me,
Au plaisir.
oh, of course. By the way, how bad were those?
Pleasure.
Pleasure.
You played it off like
I don't know why I do that. That was so culturally insensitive. How bad were those shadows? Was it?
Oh, there was a free kick towards
Was
the
it-
end where you were the
I
only
was like-
one in
we were like-
shadow,
we
and it
were
was
like-
completely in the sun. I was like, this is a
Yeah,
bad spot.
I mean, with Carlos said the first, I said first half we got to take that side because second half is going to go even more. And on one side of the field, it was tough to see. I almost put the black stuff under my eyes.
Almost.
But yeah, second half, I mean, it was probably pretty much worse for them to be on that side.
Well, we thank you guys a lot. This is means a lot for us, and it obviously gets us ready for the game as well. So thank you for joining us here on Inside LAFC. You may rate, review, download, subscribe, tell a friend so you can get great content like this. We know you're listening because we see the numbers, and we appreciate that. We're getting ready for Nashville over the weekend, and then it's the postseason. So you're in the right place. We'll see you soon.
Oh, yes! They knocked on the door.